Hi, everybody. Sarah here. I thought I would finally do my way too late reaction to the Stargate announcement. When this was announced, super excited, very stoked. I'm looking so forward to this being a thing again. I'm very excited. I got to get my rewatch of the series going again so I can have all of this stuff in my head again before the new one starts up. It took me about a week to really kind of let it sink in. I would be sitting there and be like, oh, wow, Stargate is actually really happening, because there's been so many rumors and things circulating around that oh, it's going to happen. And then there'd be a strike or some kind of cancellation for budget, whatever the reasons were. There was just a lot of ups and downs. And it kind of felt like, okay, is this actually for real? It took me about a week to really be like, wow, this is actually happening. And not only am I excited about it actually happening, I am so glad they're getting the right people involved. Martin Garrow, Joseph Malozzi, Brad Wright. I am so excited that they're bringing in these guys to do the next, whatever the next version of this show is going to be. And I just, I'm going to be watching the news and trying to find every little bit of rumor and news and everything I can about it and keep up to date on everything going on. And hopefully maybe we get a timeline of some kind announced soon. That would be great. But I also wanted to talk in this video. I randomly just decided 5 things that I think I would like to see happen in this next version of Stargate. The first thing is, obviously, I think most people have this on this list. We want to see that Sam Carter is now been promoted to a general, and that preferably that she's running the SGC. But we have to see, with whatever's happened in the past 15 years or however long it's been, does the SGC even exist anymore? We don't even know that. We'll find out. But hopefully if it does, Sam Carter, or I should say General Sam Carter, will be running it. The next big thing is, should the gate be top secret, or should it be public knowledge? Thinking about it in terms of the real world, thinking, okay, if a Stargate existed in our world now as it is, I don't think it being public knowledge would be a good idea. I just think there would be too much of a power struggle over it. I think just the amount of power you have as a nation controlling the gate, the amount of resources that would be available that you could gather from the galaxy, those would be such great temptations to a lot of nations on Earth. I'm not going to name any names, but I think you guys know probably what those nations would be. And even if they got a UN or some international governing group to kind of run it, I just think it would be hard for there not to be bribery and constant arguments about fair use and what the rules are going to be when we're out there in the galaxy on these other planets. There'd have to be some rules set up. And I just think it would just lead to a lot of not good things, a lot of fighting. I mean, maybe all out war over who is in control of it. I don't think it would bring peace. I think it would bring a lot of problems. And I just don't think it being public knowledge would be a good idea. I just think the general public knowing about it, I just think there'd be, it's hard for me to imagine that there would be a peaceful way to do it. I think there'd be constant bickering, fighting, corruption on use of it. And I just think keeping it secret would be better. But that's applying it to kind of our real world, but thinking of it applying to the fictional world of the Stargate universe, so to speak, not the show, just the world of Stargate. I just think in the fictional world, I think it would work. It would definitely produce a lot of storylines that could be followed with this thing with nations, but I would be afraid that maybe the show might get bogged down with that behind the scenes political fighting. It would just become too maybe much of a political show, because they would have to be dealing with that kind of stuff a lot. And I feel like there would be a chance that maybe some of the exploration adventure side of things might get kind of pushed aside a little bit, because everything would always have to be framed in all this political turmoil around it or whatever. So I don't know. I just like the idea of it being secret and things being very similar to what they were when the show was airing. Um, Next thing is speaking of Stargate Universe, let's get into the Destiny. It's just traveling out there, going from galaxy to galaxy, collecting energy from flying through suns. And, they're just out there in suspended animation with Eli running things to kind of make sure everything's going okay. We need to know, I don't know if it needs to be right away, but what's going on with the Destiny? Is the Destiny just kind of, they just know the Destiny's out there and there's nothing they can do about it, and they're just going to be like, well, the Destiny's out there somewhere. It'd be nice to know, like, okay, are there people working on trying to figure out ways to get to the Destiny, to figure out exactly where it is? It would be nice to see at least there would be people working on doing that. It just would be really interesting to just know what's going on with the Destiny, because there's just so much unfinished business in SGU to go with. There's the stuff with the drone attacks. There's the galaxy now that is populated with humans that are descendants of the alternate crew of the Destiny, and what's going on with that. And I know those people are just traveling in a ship to a new planet because their original homeworld was destroyed or whatever. So what's going on with those people and the planet builders with that obelisk or whatever it was they found on that one planet? And that's that message in the background radiation of the universe. There's a message that Rush wants to figure out. It's just there's so many things they could delve into to universe. I hope we get some of that. I realize it may not be the first thing, but hopefully we get some update on the Destiny and just some other things with the Stargate Universe show would be great. Third, of course, we all want to know, what have our legacy characters been doing these past few years? Did Jack and Sam get together? Did Daniel and Vala get together? How are things going with Teal'c and the Jaffa? Like Jonas, Mitchell, Landry, what's going on with all these characters? It'd be nice to somehow, even if it's just some exposition thrown in here or there, it'd be nice to be able to know what's going on with these characters. And hopefully we will get some guest star appearances or maybe little mini arcs in the show or something. It'd be nice to be able to see these characters again. Primarily, Sam running things would be great because she did run Atlantis, so we know she knows how to do it. But I really want to know, what's Daniel doing? What, Jack must be retired, but what is he doing? I just want to know what's going on with all these characters, where they're at, and what kind of things we can do moving forward with these characters while adding new people and new stories and kind of giving us a nice blend of old and new that keeps us interested and keeps telling interesting stories. The last thing is, of course, Atlantis. We got to check in with Atlantis. Where is Atlantis? Is Atlantis still parked out by San Francisco, or is Atlantis orbiting the Earth? Maybe the SGC is Atlantis, which would be really cool. And how does the thing with the gates work with Atlantis? And anyway, that's something for another video, I suppose. Who's running Atlantis? What's going on with Ronan, Shepard, McKay, everybody on there, the main characters from that show, get an update on them. Definitely McKay and Shepard for sure. I mean, the other characters, yeah, we want to know that too. Anyway, those are kind of my 5 things I would like to see in the new version of Stargate, and hopefully we get that. And, feel free to give me your list, whether it's 5 things or 1 thing, or maybe there's a character or a thing that I didn't mention that you would like to know about. Let me know in the comments. Anyway, that's all for me for now. And hopefully I will see you all again soon. Bye.